Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is May the 25th, 2026. Hopefully this episode finds you well, in good spirits and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Happy Monday. Happy Garfield Day. Hopefully you got that lasagna. Holiday edition, a bit of a memorial lasagna. Hopefully things were good. Hopefully things were solid for you. As for me, I've had a pretty good day, very solid, but, being that went through the whole holiday weekend, let's go ahead and do a recap of it. And I would say, on the broad strokes, on the overview, good, but definitely tinged with a bit of bittersweet. And, I don't know, I feel like a bit lagged out, a bit like, oof, about it. But yeah, let's go ahead and do a quick breakdown, and we'll run it all down. Starting off with like the pretty much the thorn of the weekend that kind of just has been lingering since and will linger throughout the week. I get through work. Work was work. Nothing really too spectacular to say there. Not too bad. I got out about, I think, an hour or so early, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was about an hour. Anyway, so I'm leaving. I'm heading to the gym. It's raining crazy. Like just pouring cats and dogs. I've been doing that all day. And as I'm turning, I hydroplane and my turn has me now aimed at a pole. And I'm like one of those wooden electrical poles. And I'm like, well, oh no, I don't want that to happen. I'm not trying to go out like that. And, I try to, and I see that I can just turn enough to like dodge the pole, but I run right into these two like stacked rocks next to said pole. And I hit that shit, and I kind of drive into the grass area, like off the road. And I look back and I see like something is just in the street. And I'm like, oh no. So, I do a quick inspection of the car. It overall looks fine from what I could see. But then I look back out there and I can clearly tell that was whatever is out in the street right there used to be a part of my car. So I'm running in the rain. It's giving drama. It's giving suspense. And, I grab this thing up and I realize that it's the wheel liner of my car. Apparently, I guess the rock like hit it and then just tore it out. And I'm like, okay. I put it in my trunk and then I proceed to drive to the Planet Fitness. And I'm like, okay, so what's to do? What should I do? I do realize that, this is fucked, at least in that regard. Like the wheel liner is completely compromised. It's no good. So, it's an L there. And this is my first time dealing with an issue like that. So I was like, I don't even know how important this is. I'm talking to my, my maintenance friend. They're, giving me the rundown, like, you definitely should get a new one sooner than later. You're going to be okay. But, definitely get on that. So, I spent a little bit of time trying to figure that out, and I'm kind of step out of the actual day-to-day here. I essentially wound up finding out that I'm like, okay, you can't just go to an AutoZone or whatever, at least not to my knowledge, and just pick up the liner that you need for your car. But you can pick them up, like you can buy them, you can order them. So I did wind up putting an order for that, and hopefully I can DIY this. Wish me luck. Let's knock on some wood that this is something I can handle. I looked at the tutorial. They're like, it should be like 30 minutes to like an hour for you. So yeah, any of my mechanic friends or whatever can chime in, hit me up, let me know, for any tips and tricks. But yeah, hopefully I can get that done and it'll be, good. But needless to say, I was pretty shook up about that. I still got my fucking pump in. I was a bit distracted, but we did get a little bit of workout in. Post that, I was like, okay, hopefully the car is fine. Hopefully there's not any extra damage. Hopefully any of the exposed wires aren't going to be compromised, but I'm going to go ahead and see my girlfriend, see my lady love. So that is what we did. We took the watery trip up and we made it. Needless to say, the whole time it was raining, and then the whole night also raining. But we were hungry, so we did wind up going to Freddy's. We each got the steak burgers. She got fries and cheese curds, and she split the cheese curds and some fries with me. I got some onion rings, split those with her. I forget. I think she just got a bacon cheeseburger kind of situation, and I got the California add bacon. So, I mean, it was good, but I will say I officially realized that I am out of my smash burger era. Like, I do love the taste and the texture of a crispy burger like that you get out of a smash burger, but give me them fat and juicy motherfuckers. I need that shit thick, okay? I want it thick and juicy. Big meat. Big meat in 2026. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. So, overall, yummy food. Also, there was a bit of confusion, and I didn't even feel like it because I was just so like over it. They like kind of fucked up my order in terms of like they only had Pepsi products. I'm like, whatever, that's fine. Can I get a mug root beer? And they gave me a Dr. Pepper, and I'm like, okay, whatever. It's small potatoes, not a big deal, but like you do clock that like eh. So yeah, maybe I'm done with the Freddy's. But I will say though, I underestimated the power of a good cheese curd. Granted, Culver's, apples to apples, I think I still would rather Culver's cheese curds as opposed to Freddy's, but a cheese curd is a cheese curd, and they're worth it. They're yummy. So yeah, that was like big meal number one. Trying to think next meal. This is once again where we're gonna get out of order potentially in my food thing, but I think I got it down pat. I will say too, Zoe and I, we more or less chilled, hung out. We watched some Survivor, watching a lot of Survivor as becoming our norm. I mean, there's so many seasons to get through. We started at one now, so we're starting from the beginning. So we like just wrapped season one this weekend. It was fun. It was good. And then watched a little bit of RuPaul's Drag Race. Outside of that, we did go to one of my friends. Their child had their first year birthday party, which was very, very fun. And so we got to eat some burgers, some hot dogs, some cookies. There was a banana pudding, which even though I have stated before, I am not a banana pudding enjoyer, I did have a bite, and it was giving. Yummy. Good. Great. That being said, did it convert me back into the banana pudding? No, but I will officially, if it's my homies, I will definitely have a couple of spoonfuls. I'm definitely down for that. So yeah, that was big meal number two. Then the next day, Zoe was like, hey, do you want breakfast? And I was like, yes, I would love breakfast. And she just listed an array of things. And I was just like, I just said yes to all of them. And she's like, bet. I was like, yes. So she made chocolate chip blueberry pancakes. She made bacon. She made eggs scrambled. She made, oh no, it's escaping me right now. Oh, potatoes, with the peppers, with the onions. Ooh, so good. So all of it came together. It was all very yummy. And that's the thing. I think a lot of times people go, oh, like Isaiah doesn't like breakfast. He doesn't eat breakfast very often. Normally I don't, just because it fucks up my stomach. But I think, what recent episodes, now that I, am in a relationship and we're going out to eat for breakfast and brunch, y'all see me out here. You see me eating a good waffle. You see me eating a fucking pancake in the daytime. So yes, I do like breakfast. If I eat breakfast every single day, I would be a different person, and my stomach would not like me as much. So that being said, it's a nice, yummy treat. Then later that day for dinner, she made Beijing beef with peppers and broccoli and rice, which is also very good. Then later that night, she made this thing that I think I had sent it to her, because I just have this habit of I send her, and there's a couple others in my friend group who are like either good with cooking and or what is it, like food like I do. Like, oh my gosh, look at this fucking hot dog, look at this fucking glizzy. So like I will, send, every once in a while, like, oh, look at this, look at that. And Zoe has been kind of pocketing some of them, like, oh yes, I do really like that. I want to try to make that. So she made this cinnamon roll bar, like this, like essentially like, what if you took a cinnamon roll and just made it like kind of like a cake style, brownie style situation. So she whipped this up and it was so good because you got all of the yumminess of a cinnamon roll, but then you also got crispy edges from the pan. Oh, it was a sensation. I loved it. I fucked with that heavy. So yes, a lot of yummy meals, a lot of sweet treat action. So yeah, it was a good time. It was a great weekend in that regard. But I will say, just kind of coming out of it, just the haze of like, one, almost got in a major accident. That really would have sucked. Two, I did get into, I guess officially like my first accident with this car, and it did fuck up something, and now I'm gonna have to do something that I don't know what to do. Like I said, I looked at the video, but I'm almost assuredly gonna fuck it up. I think all I need is like a couple of wrenches or a wrench, maybe a couple of screwdrivers. But I don't know, man. I'm just not a handy man. I'm no mechanic, so I'm hoping that it all goes well, and I'm just overthinking. But I'm just dreading it. Like I said, it's the last thing I need is to worry about this kind of thing, and like I can't afford body shops or whatever. So most likely, if I can fix this shit, well then goddamn, life's a gamble. No. Anyway. Enough worrying about that, enough fretting, tutting about that, enough blogging, enough yapping about my precious little life. Let's go ahead and do our startup and let's get into some news. Being that it is Memorial Day weekend, Memorial Day Monday, might hear some fireworks in the background. I don't know if that got picked up or not. Oh, I will say too, I was a bit sad that I couldn't go to the gym Monday, because I closed early for the holiday. Makes sense. But I was like, okay, well, I'm at least gonna try to get in something. So I came home, did a little bit of stretching, did some push-ups, did some sit-ups, and then I have the barbell that you can put plates on. I don't have any plates for it yet, and I just kind of did some like just movements with that, a bit of like bent over rows, just a little deadlift action, flat bench press kind of vibe, or like a ground bench press, so to speak, benchless bench. So yeah, got a little bit of sweat going, felt good at least for that. Definitely not the pump I was looking for, but we'll take it under limited resources. But yeah, let's continue the startup. All right. Whew. Our first story is coming out of The Guardian. Suspected Ebola cases in DRC pass 900 as health workers face attacks and shortages. Authorities in the Democratic Republic of the Congo say that suspected Ebola cases have now passed 900 in the ongoing outbreak in the east of the country. The DRC's Ministry of Communication said in a post on X on Sunday that there were 904 suspected cases and 119 suspected deaths. I also believe I was listening to the BBC on the way home that the number on the suspected deaths have risen to 200. Authorities have previously announced more than 700 suspected Ebola cases and more than 170 suspected deaths, mostly in the Ituri province where the outbreak is centered. The World Health Organization has said the outbreak now poses a very high risk for the DRC, but that the risk of the disease spreading globally remains low. But that being said, with the number going up at this rate, it does not look good for the DRC at all. Especially as I've noted before, this is a strain that has no cure or any kind of vaccine. Let me see if I can find the name. They have it in this article. The Bundibugyo type of Ebola virus responsible for the outbreak has no approved vaccine or treatment. But yeah, that being said, too, just kind of added onto this, I didn't want to miss this part. There have been arson attacks on Ebola treatment centers in the country's east. 2 centers in the 2 towns were hit last week, exposing the anger in a region beset by violence linked to armed rebel groups, the displacement of large number of people, the failure of local government, and the international aid cuts that experts say have stripped health facilities and vulnerable communities. Yeah, now a story I had heard on Friday that really reminded me, I'm like, I really do need to talk about this shit, where there were some young men who were really upset about people who had passed and they wanted to do proper burial. And with Ebola, you can't do that. You can't have the kind of proper situation. Not to mention, this is now, this person's body, it is now part of a whole protocol that we have to follow and, respect in that regard. And people are like, no, I want my family member now. Like, you're not going to hide them. And for, some people, there is this disbelief that Ebola is even an issue or a problem. And this is some other thing. It's a conspiracy or whatever. So they're like, no, I want my person's body back. And they go through and just running roughshod, trying to burn down the facility. So tensions are high, and it's rough because it's hard to reach people who don't believe, what's being told, and that's understandable. But that being said, it's like, this is happening. You can't just ignore it. You can't just, kind of put your head in the sand and just, move on through this. This is something that has to be solved, and you do have to follow these protocols and respect them. So it's sad to hear not 1, but 2 of these cases happening in terms of treatment centers being attacked. So yeah, I felt like it was relevant to start off with that update and not forget that situation that is ongoing. Another incident that took place over the weekend, from the BBC, at least 82 killed in Chinese coal mine explosion. At least 82 people have been killed and 2 are missing after coal mine blasts in northern China. Rescue officials revised down the death toll in an update late on Saturday, having earlier said at least 90 people died. The gas explosion at Lishanhu coal mine in Shaanxi province is the worst mining disaster in China since 2009. There were 247 workers reportedly on duty when the blast happened at 11:29 GMT. On Friday, with more than 100 people said to be saved and hundreds of rescuers sent to the site. President Xi Jinping said no effort must be spared in efforts to treat the injured and search for survivors. The country's state council later said rigorous investigation would be conducted and those found responsible would be severely punished. Let's see here. They said that 128 people were being treated in hospitals, including 2 in critical condition. Let's see here. Skipping ahead. Local officials have also ordered immediate safety inspections and inspections of coal mines across Shaanxi province. Production has been suspended at all 4 mines run by the group in charge of Lishanhu coal mine, state media reported. They do have a testimonial from Wang Young, an injured miner, who told state media that when the incident happened, he did not hear the sound but saw a sudden plume of smoke. I smelled sulfur, the same smell you get from blasting. I shouted at people to run. As we were running, I could see people collapsing from the fumes. Then I blacked out too. I lay there for about an hour or so before I came around on my own. I woke up the person next to me and we got out together. Now that's crazy because I always just think explosion. You go, oh, you're thinking, oh, big boom, boom, rattling, da 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 da, and that would be its own issue. But and I guess in this situation, you have just plumes of deadly, poisonous smoke, gas, whatever. It's now enveloping you, and it's over. done. You're on the ground, and if there's no one who's going to be able to get you up and get you out of there, it's over. They're just coming to pick up your body at that point. So good, at least in that situation, that person was able to get out, and not just get out, alone. They do kind of go through, other kind of times when this has happened in recent years. But yeah, I imagine that we will come back to the story for any kind of update. But that seemed relevant to cover those two stories. Let's see here. Another story also from the BBC. Suspect killed after opening fire on Secret Service near White House. A gunman who shot at a White House security checkpoint was killed in an exchange of fire with Secret Service agents on Saturday evening. Officials have confirmed. The suspect was Nasir Best, a 21-year-old man, the Metropolitan Police Department told the BBC. Excuse me. He reportedly was known to police and had a documented history of mental health conditions. There's also another article that I kind of use, and I might kind of weave through here from CNN, that does kind of talk about other incidents where essentially he was like coming up to Secret Service and like trying to like, get past or whatever, like saying shit like, oh, I'm God, da da da. And it's like, okay, no, get out of here. Or like he would be apprehended and then get like any kind, like some kind of psychiatric help. But needless to say, he would come back again. There's like multiple instances of this, but this time he came and had a weapon. So they're like, oh shit, he pops off, they pop off. Also, we're kind of just going to do this Isaiah's way at this point. A bystander is hit. They didn't know in terms of the reporting on the BBC, the condition, but reading from the CNN article, that person's condition was critical. So that's fucked up. That's fucking sad. I don't believe any Secret Service was hit. I don't know in terms of the bystander who was hit by whom, in terms of were they hit by Best, the suspect, or was the Secret Service who hit the bystander? I don't know. Who could fucking say at this point? We don't know. But Trump was at the White House, but he was unharmed. Of course, he uses the moment to talk on True Social about how, this is why we need better security, da da da. This is, post the White House Correspondents' Dinner, so, shit is still fresh in people's minds. I remember being at the party, a birthday party, and then someone had mentioned that, and I was like, oh shit, for real? Like, goddamn. Shit just stays popping off when I'm not at the microphone. So it goes. That's the news. So that being said, an unfortunate happening. It's a very scary. Just once again, that's the tenor of these times. It's just like everything just kind of feels like a PvP zone. And, at the White House, the black is fucking hot. Motherfuckers are trying to just pop at Trump, or just, I guess in that situation, are you just shooting at the area around where he's at? I don't even know what you're trying to accomplish in that situation. But once again, this seems to be a bit of definitely mental health, situation. And I say crisis, but can you have a crisis and then I guess you can have a crisis that goes on and just kind of repeatedly, and you have this fixation of saying, hey, I'm gonna get Trump, I'm gonna do this or whatever. I don't know. I just don't understand what this person was hoping to accomplish. And, now this person is gone, they're dead, and then, a whole other person life is hanging in the balance here. So that's unfortunate. That's fucked up. So yeah, but let's move on to weird Trump shenanigans, I guess you could say. We're in the Trumpverse, why not? Let me go ahead and take a quick water break. All right, from NPR. Trump says he's sending 5,000 more troops to Poland. President Trump on Thursday said the U.S. will send an additional 5,000 troops to Poland, stirring confusion following weeks of changing statements from Trump and his administration about reducing, not increasing, the American military footprint in Europe. The Trump administration has said it was reducing levels in Europe by about 5,000 troops, and U.S. officials confirmed about 4,000 service members were no longer deploying to Poland. Trump social media announcements raises more uncertainty for European allies that have been blindsided by the changes as the administration has complained about NATO members not shouldering enough of the burden of their own burden or their own of the burden of their own defense and failing to do more to support the Iran war. I do feel especially this shit is more about the Iran war. Like, more or less, Europeans had kind of come together and said, okay, we hear you, Trump. We're going to invest more in military. We're going to invest more in NATO. You don't have to back us as much. We're willing to tank that. Plus, we're doing the tariff shit. Like, okay. But Trump added a whole other fucking layer when he decided to say, hey, you know, the U.S. and Israel, we're going to fucking bomb Iran. We're going to fucking get active there. And you're going to help us. And it's like, no, we're not. We're just fucking not. Like, there's already a sour taste in, like, pretty much the world's mouth over, you know, the U.S., over fucking Trump. They don't want to waste more fucking resources. They don't want to get dragged into the quagmire of the Middle East that is fucking with Iran. They know it's not worth it. So they're like, yeah, no, maybe you can use a base here or there. But I think a lot of countries thought about that thoroughly, and they're like, if we let them use the base, then it's going to be a thing that of contention, and then our shit's going to get hit one way or another. Either that base or something else. It's just not fucking worth it. So, like, no. And essentially, Trump and the administration are having a fucking fit about it. You know, even fucking Marco Rubio, my bad, whatever, is essentially, like, he's kind of come out, and he's, like, a NATO enjoyer, more or less. He's kind of come over and try to do the both angles, do a little bit of subglaze, you know, say, hey, I'm with you. I fuck with you. I fuck with the history of Europe. But, like, now he's talking this shit like, look, if you guys don't let us use those bases, that's what they're there for. So if you don't let us use them, why do we even have this agreement with NATO? Why do we support it? And it's like, brother, at the end of the day, there is a level of symbiosis here. Like, I know that Trump really doesn't want to give a fuck about NATO, and I think that that's great. It's kind of one of the things I low-key enjoy about him. I've talked about it a little bit on the pod, but, like, at the end of the day, this relationship is going to continue. I don't see NATO going anywhere, because NATO is a thing that still is used to bully countries around when they feel it, when they want to use it. So it still serves that end. I don't foresee it breaking up. That's why you kind of do see European countries saying, hey, we will step up to the plate and kind of fill the space that, you know, Trump is kind of leaving. U.S. is kind of leaving. That being said, with, like, Frederick Merz talking shit about the Iran war, saying, like, America is getting humiliated. They're getting fucking mogged right now. And Trump didn't take that lightly. You know, he really got fucking huffy about it. So he's like, okay, we're going to take away 5,000 troops. Next thing you know, 4,000 service members weren't going to be deployed, which is crazy for, you know, our service members. Like, they're literally, like, setting up their whole lives, like, for this time that they're going to be deployed, and then all of a sudden, nope, you're not going. It's like, dude, I, like, sold shit, I set up shit over there, like, now I got a fucking about face? Like, this is dumb as fuck, this is weird as hell. But that's what our president wants, so that's what you gotta fucking do. But let's go ahead and read the reasoning for this turnaround now, and we're gonna be sending 4,000 or 5,000 troops to Poland instead, actually. Based on the successful election of the now president of Poland, Karol Nawrocki, who I was proud to endorse, and our relationship with him, I am pleased to announce that the United States will be sending an additional 5,000 troops to Poland, Trump said on Truth Social. Like, this was some shit that, like, has already been in effect. He had been talking shit. He's just kind of finding a way out of this. He's, you know, finding a way to do his little taco thing here. So, like, good for him, whatever. If this allows him to save face, you know, from a bad fucking truth post or whatever that he needed to see all the way out, then fine, so be it. But yeah, it just makes us look so silly, you know, and it makes things so confusing. But yeah, we'll call the rest details. By all means, feel free to read it. This really wasn't a big deal, but I did talk about Trump pulling the 5,000 troops, so I felt like it was important for me to talk about the 5,000 troops that he's apparently just going to be sending instead. Oops-a-daisy. Just don't worry about it. Forget about it. He's not apologizing or anything. This isn't a backtrack. No way, no how. All right. Anyway, we have one more story that I wanted to cover, and then we'll go ahead and close it out for the day, for this Memorial Day. Monday. Get your lasagna. But yeah, let's go and take our last break. All right. Our last story comes from Reuters. Comes from Reuters. Gabbard resigns as Trump's top U.S. intelligence official. Okay, a little bit late, but not never. Looks like we get our send off to old Tulsi, old Miss Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard said on Friday she is resigning from her job as President Donald Trump's Director of National Intelligence, saying her husband has been diagnosed with a rare form of bone cancer and that she was stepping away from her role to help him. Gabbard advised Trump of her intention to step down during an Oval Office meeting on Friday, Fox News Digital reported earlier. The resignation is effective June 30th, it said. Now, I was having a crazy fucking Friday when I got the news of this, and I was like, hey, at least the universe is sending me little letters of saying, hey, it's worth seeing the next screen, okay? It's worth keeping it going, okay, man? Things are going to be all right. And, does this shit really matter? No. And am I really going to lay into Tulsi Gabbard on this one? No. She's getting to use a really good out. I'll say that much. Bone cancer fucking sucks. Being in a situation where I've had to experience someone going through that. It is a very painful, harrowing experience. So, good that she's going to be with that person and do that thing. I'm not going to get into the details of my problems with my big beefs with Tulsi Gabbard, for real. I've discussed it before. It's whatever. But good. It's good to see one more of these motherfuckers down. Granted, they're just going to be replaced with some other crazy guy or gal who is, just going to further spearhead Trump's agenda. Let's see here. I'm trying to see if I can get the guy. Aaron Lucas. Yes, Aaron Lucas would serve as acting director of national intelligence. But it's just one of those things where, once again, Tulsi Gabbard came in on the premise of being like, yeah, I went in the military, but I'm a Democrat, I get it, I'm rocking with actual real change, blah blah blah. And it's just like all of these face changes later just to be some operative for Donald Trump, to just do his bidding. It was just gross to always see. So that's why I definitely just became pretty anti-Gabbard, to kind of, I guess, give a quick summary there. So yeah, this one, I was kind of like, at first, I was wondering why there hadn't been any fanfare, or maybe not fanfare is the right word, but no commotion or anything like that. Like Kristi Noem, any of the other people have, been going. Also noting another woman. And another thing I want to get at too, because I'm kind of skimming past this, because I kind of don't want to throw a bunch of punches. This still does look like a push out. If you talk to other, people in the know, unnamed sources, what have you, they're saying that at the end of the day, Tulsi was as good as out. She was doing things to kind of stay in favor, but she was doing nothing to really promote what Donald Trump, wanted. And she wasn't really doing any of the wish fulfillment. So essentially, in his eyes, that's making it look bad. It's not worth it. So he, I think, was looking to headhunt there. And her saying, hey, I'm going to go take care of my husband. Donald Trump goes, yeah, you know what? That's a good idea. You go ahead and you do that. You did a good job. So yeah, all's well that ends well, I guess you could say. Happy trails to you until we meet again. Hot to whatever, man. Like I said, boo this lady. It's still tomatoes. Once again, by all means, good luck, good health with the whole situation with your husband and the bone cancer. But yeah, man. I was never rooting for this person. I'm still not really. I gotta say it. I gotta keep it a buck. But yeah, that's it. That's all I have. That's the episode. Let's see. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/IsaiahNews. Become a newsie today. Free ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Subscribe to the YouTube. Follow on TikTok. Follow on Spotify. Follow on Apple Podcasts. Wherever you like to listen. I'll be there. Just type my name and I'll be there. I'm sorry. Leave a like, leave a cool comment. Sharing is caring. 5 stars on Spotify, 5 stars on Apple Podcasts are always appreciated. But if you don't do that, that's fine. That's A-okay. I appreciate you just hanging out with me, letting me talk about the good, the bad, the ugly parts of my day and my life. But yeah, thanks so much for just hanging out, sticking it out. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend, and hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye bye. Mwah.